watching Rogers TV.
This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
Hello and welcome to We All Belong, Our Neighbors, Our Community. I'm Carol Merton. The participants in this series are sharing their stories to increase awareness and understanding of those who form part of our community. Their experiences, culture, traditions, and reflections weave a pattern of diversity in our neighborhoods, businesses, and educational institutions. This program arose out of a desire to put a human face on those who experience the challenges and share the successes of everyday living in a new community. By listening to their stories and seeing our community and neighborhoods through their eyes, it is our hope that we can appreciate what we have and what we share in common. One by one, each by each, we can demonstrate that by being inclusive is part of a journey of learning, sharing, and building community together. Today, I am absolutely delighted to welcome Michiko, who's here to tell us her story, but also to share her reflections on living in our community. Thank you for being here today.
Yeah, it's my pleasure.
Thank you. Now, I know that you have your questions that I've submitted in advance. Feel free to open your piece of paper if you need to.
Okay.
And we'll go through those questions because the more that you can share, the better. So,
Okay.
first of all, tell me a bit about yourself and your family, and what would you like our community to know about you?
Sure. My name is Michiko. I'm Japanese. My husband and I moved to Chatsworth from Japan 5 years ago. And in 2022, we welcomed our son into our family, which has been an incredible joy for us.
Wonderful,
Thank
wonderful.
you. And I love cooking and knitting. And recently, I've been particularly excited about knitting items for my son.
Oh, really? So you're expanding your abilities with the knitting.
Yes.
Well done. So you live in Chatsworth.
Yes.
And we're here interviewing in Owen Sound, but at Chatsworth, for those who aren't aware, it's not that far from Owen Sound.
Yeah.
It's fairly close. Right. So when you moved to Chatsworth, was it a much smaller area than compared to Japan?
Yes. In Japan, I live in Hiroshima. It's a middle size of
Like a city?
city.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's bigger than Chatsworth.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So, and we're going to talk more about how you adjusted to the changes as well.
Yeah.
So, thank you for sharing. So, tell me what surprised you about being in the area and the community or the neighborhood. So, when you first came, and then when you welcomed your son.
Okay, well, I was really surprised by how warm and friendly people are. When my son and I go for walks, everyone is so kind, which makes us so welcome. And I also pleasantly surprised by how clean the neighborhood and the park are. There is hardly any trash anywhere.
So that was a surprise when you first came. It wasn't what you expected. Yeah. So people will come and they'll chat to you and they'll chat to your son.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. And being out and about in the neighborhood makes a difference as well, right?
Right.
Yeah, yeah. That's interesting because it's good for people to know that how to be warm, how to welcome people.
Yeah.
And just having a conversation makes a difference.
Yes.
Yeah. Very, very good. So, what was your first trip to the grocery store like? Could you find the food items that you were familiar with? And what new items caught your eye? So take me on a grocery shopping trip.
Well, Canadian supermarkets are much bigger than Japanese ones, so I could find almost the same items, but more selection, and so many locally grown vegetables and fruits. Japan is so dependent on imported food. I think buying local is very good for environment.
Yes.
However, there is not many Asian products in our local supermarket.
Yes.
So we take a trip to Toronto to stock up a few times a year.
Yeah.
And it's not new because we have frozen pizza in Japan, but I was surprised at the wide variety of frozen pizzas, which are cheap and taste good.
Yeah. So larger selection of some things, but you still have to hunt for what you're familiar with and travel. Yeah. Has that changed at all in the time that you've been here? The reason I ask is I am fascinated now. I walk in grocery stores and I see all sorts of new things I've never seen before from different countries. So is there a change, or are you still finding some opportunities to stock more items?
Well, yeah, our local supermarket has some Asian products, so yeah, we can stock up.
But you still have to go to Toronto to get the whole selection for sure. So you end up having favorite parts and places you go to?
Do you know, have you heard the TNT supermarket?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's where you go.
We often go to there.
Yeah.
Too. Yeah.
Any different food that you've tried since you've come here that you've never had the opportunity to try before?
Well, it's a difficult question.
No problem. Think about it. If something comes to mind as we're going along, you can.
Yeah, I can think of.
Sometimes, people stick to what they're comfortable with, and other times they try different things. Yeah. So if you think of something, you can always let me know as we go along.
Thank you.
So tell me a little bit about the weather and the difference in the weather. Did you have to make any changes? Because I'm not familiar with the weather in Japan compared to Canada.
Okay, I get used to the long, cold winters in Canada, especially because the temperature can drop so much.
Yes.
And snowfall is much heavier than in Japan.
Okay.
And summer is also different because the days are much longer and we can spend more time outdoors.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, I like Canadian summers because Japan is so hot that it is difficult to spend time outdoors during the day.
Okay.
It's hot all the time, even at night or morning.
Really?
Yeah.
Sometimes we complain about the heat because there's humidity. So the heat in Japan, do you get the humidity as well, that heavy air feeling?
Yeah, Japan is hot and humid. And recently I saw news, Japanese news, some part of Japan, how can I say, cancel the swimming pool because it's hot.
Really?
Does it make sense?
Yes. Yeah. So it was overheating the water.
So
it would be like a bathtub.
Right.
Yeah.
So people can't take a swimming pool.
Really?
Because it's too hot.
Wow. And so climate change affects all countries.
Yes, right. So when I was child, it was not hot in Japan, but now always 40 degrees.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's quite 40.
Yeah.
That would be, I wouldn't be used to that for sure. That would be an adjustment. So the winters, more snow.
Yes, here.
So you had to buy different clothing.
Yes, I have to buy a lot of clothes.
Yeah, to be able to adjust.
Yes.
And did you end up having to shovel snow?
Yes, it's how can I say? I haven't shoveled snow when I'm in Japan.
Yes.
So when I moved to Canada, yes, I first time to shovel.
First time to shovel.
Yeah, but I guess get used to it.
But a totally new experience.
Yes, right.
Yeah,
yes,
for
right.
sure,
Yeah.
for sure. We have different seasons, of course. Winter, summer, fall, spring.
Yeah.
And would you say in Japan the 4 seasons as well?
Yes,
Okay.
right. And Canada have 4 seasons, and Japan also have 4 seasons, but completely different.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Good to know. Good to know. So, how do you continue with your traditions, celebrations, and your original language? You speak English well. I know we chatted just before the program, and I wanted to be sure I pronounced your name correctly, and you were kind enough to make sure you said my name as well correctly. But tell me more about all of the adjustments, and how do you celebrate your traditions here?
Well, it's hard to keep up Japanese culture and language because there aren't many Japanese people in the area.
Okay.
So in our home, we try to celebrate Japanese festival and holidays like New Year's Day. I cook traditional Japanese food and try to introduce our son to it so that he grows up knowing about Japanese culture as well. And I always speak Japanese at home.
Okay.
And read the Japanese books to our son to familiarize him with the language.
Very good.
Thank you. And I also participate in Japanese festivals in Toronto whenever I can.
Very good. So, although there aren't a lot of Japanese people in your neighborhood or close by, you make a point of going to where there are others so that you can continue to celebrate your culture and your traditions. And your son will have that advantage now as well. Very good.
He's just 2 years old, but I have to keep up, introduce Japanese culture to our son.
Yeah. So, do you mind sharing? You mentioned Japanese food, that you prepare Japanese food.
Yeah.
Can you tell? Do you mind sharing what that might be? What sorts of things would be that you would think of a celebration food?
Well, in Japan, New Year's Day is the most important day of the year.
Okay.
And we make osechi. Osechi is a traditional Japanese New Year's Day's meal.
Yes.
Yeah, I every year I make osechi.
Yes.
Yeah, osechi is lots of different kind of food. I don't know. Sorry.
So it's a variety.
Yeah, variety.
Of food, and that every year is your tradition of celebration. Food is so important as part of that as well. Yep. And of all the traditions and celebrations, you're saying New Year's Day is the most important one? Very good. Yeah. I love hearing about all the different things, especially food.
Yeah, right.
So, when your son is old enough to go to school, your son will know Japanese, but also will know English?
Yes.
So
my husband speak English, and I speak Japanese, so he already understands both language. Yeah.
What an advantage at a young age.
Yeah.
To be able to do that, I think.
I can believe it. He already know both language.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's picked it up really, really quickly.
Yes, right.
Kids do.
I'm a little jealous.
I hear you. So we've talked a little bit about the food that's traditional. But is there a favorite food that you have that you would encourage your neighbors to try?
One of my favorite dishes to prepare is okonomiyaki. Have you heard of it?
I have not. Can you describe it for me?
Sure. It's a savory Japanese pancake made with layers of cabbage, pork, noodles, egg, and topped with delicious okonomiyaki sauce.
Yeah.
I think my neighbors would really enjoy it because it's unique and flavorful dish.
Yes.
So that is fun to share.
Yeah.
So I'd love to host a cooking night to introduce this part of Japanese cuisines to my community.
That would be fun. Like a community lunch or a dinner?
Yeah.
To start to introduce, because trying new foods is an adventure.
Yes.
It is an adventure. So you mentioned the sauce that goes on the top.
Yes, top.
Yeah. Is that something you prepare right from the beginning, or is it a sauce that you purchase when you're traveling or in Toronto?
Yeah, the sauce is special. Okonomiyaki sauce is you can buy at the TNT supermarket.
Yeah.
So
you can actually purchase it.
Yes.
So that would be something that you think your neighbors would try.
Yeah.
That it sounds great.
Right.
Any other dish that you can think of? I mean,
well, I also love Japanese curry. Yeah, it's very tasty, and you can buy Japanese curry paste at the supermarket.
Yep.
So
I have seen that, but I have not tried it. Is it spicy and hot, or is it?
yeah, a little spicy, but you can choose mild, medium, hot. So
Okay, you can choose different.
Yes.
Yep. And that's when I mentioned earlier about looking at all the different foods. So that I have seen, and I thought, gee, that's different. Didn't know. So really helpful. Thank you. I am going to get hungry, and my stomach's going to rumble any minute. I can just tell.
My pleasure.
So when you first came, what pleased you about this area?
Well, I was surprised by how much Canadians love Tim Hortons because
Is it the coffee or the donuts? Which?
every time we go there, there is a line, but we still go because I love Timbits.
Yeah. Aha. Yeah. So that was something you hadn't seen before. You didn't realize, and it is true.
Right.
Sometimes I think Tim Hortons or any of the coffee shops, it's about people gathering together and having coffee or sharing together as well. I know there are groups that they just say meet you at Timmy's for coffee because they like to sit together and have coffee. So you have been exposed to Timbits, and now you like it.
Yes.
And has your son had a chance to try Timbits yet?
Not yet, because I don't know why, but he doesn't like sweets so far.
Yes.
So I tried to give him, but
It's
no,
not his taste.
Yeah.
They each to their own, right?
Yeah.
Yep. They're all little people, and they have their own tastes and personalities, without a doubt. Were there any surprises about this area that you did not expect? So, for example, when you heard about Canada, you read it. I'm thinking you would have read about Canada.
Yeah.
When you got here, was there something you hadn't read about? For some people, they would share about so much green trees.
Yeah.
For some people, it's didn't know snowplows were that big.
Yeah, you're totally right. Yeah.
So if you, in your first year or so, was there anything you went, wow?
Well, there is a lot of natures.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like my hiking, so
Okay.
yeah.
The trails would be fun for you to do. Yeah. when you first came, and even now, what challenges did you have to face and how did you overcome them?
One of the challenges I faced was getting around. In Japan, there is a lot of public transportation.
Right.
So you don't need to drive.
Yep.
However, a car is essential for getting around here. So I decided to get a license.
Since you came to
Yes.
Oh,
So I have
very
just
good.
started practicing. And although it's a challenging, I'm looking forward to being able to explore more of this area. And I think it will make my daily life much easier.
Oh, for sure. And you'll be able to get out and about for events.
Yes.
And with your son, of
Yep.
course, which is always fun. You know, we often take for granted the opportunities
Yeah.
we have. And when you describe about since you've come, you've settled in a new community, you've had to adjust to the weather, and you still travel to Toronto to get foods that
Yes.
aren't available, and you're learning to drive.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
What courage.
So
Yeah.
I'm really excited about my driving.
Oh, it's amazing. And you're right. To get anywhere, you kind of need that independence of your
Yeah.
wheels because we don't have a lot of public transit.
Yes.
Yeah,
So-
unfortunately. But we can still hope, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But to get even from village to village or city to,
Yeah.
it's really hard. Yeah, for
It's
sure.
hard, yeah.
Were there any other challenges that you had? You know, when you first moved, finding people that you could chat to, or
Yeah, my husband and I met in Japan 20 years ago, and we lived together over 15 years in Japan.
Yeah.
So he can speak Japanese very well.
Yes.
So I didn't need to speak Japanese when I in Japan. But
okay, yes.
so now we moved to Canada. Definitely, I need to speak English. So, yeah.
So that's that.
Yeah.
And you're making the transition
Yeah.
where you're able to, and again, we take it for granted what we're able to say and
Yeah.
speak.
So,
but
yeah.
to be able to do that is amazing. And to be on this program today and having this conversation.
Yes. So
in a-
yeah, it's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's in a language that's not as comfortable for you.
Yeah.
It's remarkable. Well, that takes courage. I really applaud you for this. I really do. So, are there any examples of ways that people made you feel welcome that you can share? Or are there any examples of other things that people could do to help newcomers feel welcome?
Every morning, I take a walk with my son,
Yes.
and many people greet us along the way.
Yes.
It always brightens my day when this happens.
Yes.
One of the most heartwarming experiences was when one couple we met invited us into their home. Yeah, so their hospitality and kindness made us very welcome and like a part of community.
So that extra step of inviting you in
Yeah.
was great because it took it further. It was like they wanted to get to know you better. Yeah, which is different than just saying hi on a walk.
Yes, right.
Very good. So when they did that, that's something you would suggest people think about that, whether it's for a coffee or
Yeah.
it doesn't matter, but that's a sign of being welcomed to come into their home.
Yep.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yep. Any other ways you can think of? Do you like it when people, when you're on a walk, would you wait for them to say hi? Do you say hi first? Does it matter who says hi first?
Yeah.
It's fine for them to say hello?
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's nice. That's
The
nice.
small talk is like a Canadian people, how can I say, the small talk. I'm not good at small talk, but yeah, I love small talk.
Yeah.
So.
It's a way to connect in a neutral way, but you're right. Small talk isn't always easy to do. I hear you, and especially when it's with people you're not familiar with, for sure. Yeah, yeah. I love this question. What 3 wishes, if you had 3 wishes about how we all can belong as neighbors in a community, what would your 3 wishes be?
My 3 wishes, first, I would wish for more events that bring people together.
Okay.
This would help us connect with one another and build a stronger sense of community.
Okay.
And the second, the new community hub in Chatsworth, that is currently in the planning stages. It will provide a central place for people to meet and learn and engaged in various activities.
So that would be something you would be keen to participate in, I'm sure. Yeah.
And finally,
you can have more than 3 wishes, by the way. I just said 3, but you can have more than 3.
So finally, I would be delighted if I had a chance to share more Japanese culture and cuisines with the community. This would create a wonderful opportunity for cultural exchange. So one day I hope to teach a Japanese cooking class to share some of my favorite recipes with people.
Food draws people together, and sharing unique cooking skills and tastes would be a wonderful way for people to learn more and enjoy.
Yes.
What a great idea.
I think so too.
You should have your name on that list. When that hub continues to grow, to say, I'd like to do this. I think that's a wonderful idea. Being able to draw people together around a table and share, it does make a difference, I think, for sure. I know we've got a minute left in the program, so I cannot believe how fast this interview has gone. Thank you so much for sharing, and I look forward to hearing more about the hub in Chatsworth and you in a cooking class.
I really appreciate it. I had a good time.
Thank you.
Carol, thank you.
Thank you to you, our viewing audience, for joining us today to learn more about our neighbors, our community, and the resources that are available to you. Thank you, and please join us again for more stories on We All Belong, our neighbors, our community. Take care.
Connect with us by visiting our website or email us at comments@rogerstv.com.
Sports fans know Sundays are for football. That's why you need NFL Sunday Ticket. With NFL Sunday Ticket, Rogers customers get every live game, every Sunday afternoon, all season long. Follow your favorite teams and players live in HD. Order NFL Sunday Ticket and get up to 200 regular season games. Rogers Ignite TV customers say NFL into your voice remote.
Public transit, garbage pickup, parks and recreation.